all of you have already gotten very comfortable and acquainted with the chat box. All right. So you can continue to use that to communicate with us. There are two sections there. One is a chat which you can, use to chat with everyone, or if you want others to also read your chat. There is an option where if you have a specific question as a part of the knowledge webinar, we also want to engage in a lot of Q&A with you. All right. So while we do that from your end, we also encourage you to have questions from your end, which we will be able to answer and address it live in the session today. All right. So there is a Q&A chat also available. So put your questions specifically that are directed towards us. So our team from our end will be able to address that question live before we leave the webinar. All right. So there is a dedicated Q&A session which is already been programmed towards after the speakers have done with the topics that we need to cover today. It will happen. There is a dedicated Q&A segment already allocated. So do not worry. We will ensure that each and every question that has reached us, we will be able to address them. All right. There is a way to kind of full screen. All right. If you are on your phone or if you're using your desktop or your laptop, you just need to double click and it will go full screen. All right. And there are two very important announcements by the end of the webinar. So there are some communications that has gone out from our end, which are very special announcements and very important announcements, especially for those who are aspiring to get into this field or who are wanting to enhance their credibility or their profile as a career counselor. Then these two announcements are going to be very, very relevant for you. So stay tuned and we will be doing that towards the end of the webinar. So without further ado, let's move to the next slide, please, Abhishek. Okay. All right. So everyone here, so I see last name Sophanie, who's joined us from Cambodia. Thank you so much, Sophanie, for joining. So all of you are here to learn how to become an international career counselor. So that's one of the programs that we offer on a very regular basis, and I'm sure all of you who've joined in here to a large extent are already aware about that program. But what we're here today for? Today is as a part of our knowledge series, we have conducted a knowledge webinar today. So the certified career analyst program that we have, we've taken a part from that program and we thought, let's introduce the part of that training and make it accessible and available to everyone who is interested to learn about career counseling. And this becomes a fantastic way to get you introduced to certain methodologies, certain frameworks, certain techniques that are used in career counseling. And we believe that the knowledge that you will be able to take away from this session, we are very hopeful that you will also be able or be in a position to apply that, because a lot of you are already trainers, counselors, psychologists, career counselors. So we hope and believe that we'll be able to add to your knowledge, and also we'll be able to make a difference in such a way that you will be able to apply this knowledge so that it becomes a solid takeaway for you after you leave the webinar. So next slide, please. All right. Now I am Fatima. I am going to be your host and moderator for the knowledge webinar series today. All right. A lot of you here would know me already, but for those who do not know me or would be meeting us for the first time, I have been working with Edumilestones for over 8 years now. And I come from a psychology background and work experience. Earlier, when I started my journey with Edumilestones, I was working in the research and development segment. Post that, I moved on to training the career counselors. And after that, I have moved on to profiles that allow me to contribute towards strategic alliances. And also, we took up expanding the program, the knowledge that we have here in India. So the program that we're bringing to you today is from India. So we thought that while a lot of counselors, aspirants are benefiting here in India, it's time that we also extend and provide this benefit to other aspirants or counselors outside India as well. So that is what we've been doing for past few years, where I'm specifically looking after ensuring that we're able to take our program, our knowledge, the tools, the support, the resources that we have, which are equipping our career counselors here in India and other countries. Other counselors should also be able to benefit from the same. Eventually, we are all working towards a larger cause, which is known to be globally known, that is a career crisis, or when someone is into a career confusion, or when someone is looking for career clarity. Moving on, next slide, please. So this is once again a quick reminder for everyone. We have the chat box available. So I believe everyone is in right now. So I'll just quickly run through it once again. You have the chat box. Please use that to communicate with us or with each other. There is a specific segment if you want to ask a certain question to one of the speakers. We have a dedicated question and answer. So we will ensure that all the questions that are relevant to the session that we're doing today, we will be addressing it in the session itself. And you can go full screen by just double clicking on either your laptop screen or your mobile screen. And there are two very important and special announcements towards the end of the webinar. So stay tuned for that. Next slide, please. Now, if we have to give you a little backdrop, all right, now a lot of you might have limited understanding or might want to expand your understanding about us, about what we do. So this is a small roadmap that we have created so that you will be able to better understand what we have been doing and how we have been contributing in the field of career counseling for the past 11 years, all right? So we kind of launched India's first career assessment platform, which career counselors can use when they are doing career counseling with the students. After that, a few years down the line, we received a fantastic and a phenomenal response in terms of the accuracy of the report, the reliability, the validity of the tools that we were providing to the career counselors, which kind of gave rise to a lot of other professionals outside the career counseling domain who also wanted to get into career counseling. So they were professionals from a very similar background to you. Like some of you are from some of you was a consultant, or some of you was a teacher or a trainer, not necessarily a career counselor, but given an opportunity to professionally equip yourself to be a career counselor, be certified, be professionally and formally trained, we received a lot of requests, and that was on a very steep rise after we launched our services and solutions for career counselors. So a lot of professionals outside career counseling also wanted to step into career counseling, purely because they were also equally interested. They were also dealing with students and professionals on day-to-day basis, and of course they had the passion to help them. So that is when we launched our program called Certified Career Analyst. That happened somewhere during the early 2000, after 2010. And we also ensured that let's have a complete detailed training program, curriculum, a structure which is intensive enough so that after training, someone should feel equipped and should feel very confident when practicing as a career counselor. So one should be at par with how a professional is expected to deliver a career counseling session. And we also got that certification accredited from two international associations. So we'll talk about that in a while. So after that, moving on, you can see we got it recognized from ACCPH UK and BCPA India. Also, after that, we have created an interface for the students as well as for the counselors to connect with each other directly. And so far, we have been able to touch base career counselors across 100 cities in India alone. And when it comes to other countries, can we have the next slide? So far, our entire program and the kind of professionals and counselors and experts who are associated with us, they are across 24 countries to be specific. So we have counselors who got trained and have been using our tools and assessments, be it Canada, be it Australia, be it Philippines, Hong Kong, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Nigeria, South Africa, UK, Spain, also countries like Nepal, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, countries like Ghana. So we've been able to, for me, if you're not able to hear, there is if someone can help from Team Edumilestones, put it on the chat that they need to click on start the broadcast. Only then they will be able to hear. Thank you. So these are the footprints that we've been able to garner so far, and we are not intending on stopping anywhere sooner. We are aggressively moving towards a lot of other professionals also in the same countries, and also have an ambition to reach out to more countries in the year 2022. Next slide, please. All right. Now, without making you wait any longer, a lot of you here are to gain that knowledge on career counseling, to get yourself acquainted and test waters on what is it that what framework or methodology do career counselors actually use when they have to help someone gain, or if they want to facilitate career awareness for someone. And who better than Miss Radha Padmanabhan herself to be able to deliver or to be able to share that knowledge, those skills, those techniques, those methodologies with you. So I'm very happy and glad to introduce our head trainer here at Edumilestones. She is the head trainer for our program, Certified Career Analyst. And she is the training head here. And we had requested her to specifically and specially be a part of the webinar today. So all of you will be able to experience the kind of quality, experience the kind of training directly from Ms. Radha Padmanabhan herself. So Radha, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Fatima. Thank you so much. Thank you. That was a wonderful introduction, Fatima. You were so very passive in, communicating who we are, what we are, and where we are. So that was very nice of you. I hope the communication has to be, also from my side, not be very fast, so that I should be able to enable each and everyone here. Such an excellent audience. I can see a population of 240 plus. It's really so exciting to be with all of you today and share certain points of view with reference to the training what we deliver while you desire to become a career counselor. So the official training program, I would like to give you a glimpse of from there, like what I would cover and how I would cover the training, or what are the learning takeaways from each one of you. Okay, so very warm afternoon from India. And I'm sure that many parts of African countries, people are here. So a warm morning to you too. And all over India, while people are there, I can find from the Middle East, from Southeast Asia, different parts of the different countries. I'm able to have the wonderful audience here. Yes, I personally hold a responsibility to make an impact about what kind of a knowledge or learning you are possible to take away, right? So without any further ado, can I just get into the program objectives? Can I request my colleague Abhishek to help me changing the slide? Thank you. So, the career planning as a process is an entire life cycle. In this life cycle, there are actually 3 episodes. In these 3 episodes, 4 steps of activities are carried out as a career counselor. Somebody is coming to us for a career guidance. It can be a student who is doing a school education, possible to be in a high school education level, or can be possibly the pre-university studies, which is also known as senior secondary in most of the countries. And we also find a pre-university studying student who can be in an undergrad or even in a postgrad. They are also very anxious about what kind of career they are going to be, working with. And they have a lot of dreams about it. Of course, nevertheless, the professionals, people who are in the early, mid, and senior career, we find mostly they actually take a decision about the career not by choice, most of them. Most of them make a career by option because they did not have a proper guidance. Where would they actually have their career destination? So ideally, as a career counselor, you're possible to guide them through the entire career journey. How wonderful if you're going to include even students who are actually from a high school level, who could be broadly in an age group of, say, 13 years onwards, getting a career guidance, being very objective and more ambitious about what career they are going to be taking. Isn't it a blessing? Yes, certainly. It's a serious blessing for them to have the advanced information about the career what they are going to be taking up at least after 7 to 8 years down the line. In fact, during this period, they are possible to acquire all kinds of skills and abilities, right? That is something super exciting, right? If a child is going to be listening in a 13 years old student, they're going to be very much excited. Oh, I can know what career I'm going to be taking now itself. Can I also know how much it is going to be suitable to me? And if I don't have the skills now, can I be able to acquire those skills? Can I be able to develop the skills? Certainly, yes. See, the entire model we suggest for providing a career guidance to huge spectrum of target audience is about checking what are their emotions, right? So the emotions at workplace, how can it be compatible? Because we strongly believe emotions can drive people while people drive performance. Performance at work environment is highly essential, which is going to promise them a growth oriented career. I hope and trust that each one of you will agree with me. All right. So, what are the emotions shall we consider in making career choice? By and large, you would have observed people mostly make a career choice based on the skills and abilities they possess. But a child in a high school education or in a higher secondary or pre-university education, what kind of great skills which are going to employment are available in them? They can only plan, correct? So we first hand have to give them an awareness about the skill and ability that can be developed from outside as how. So we test their emotional areas, which includes personality as a point. The personality of an individual at workplace tells us what kind of work nature they are compatible and they are comfortable. Right? Second important dimension we consider is about testing their career interest. When we say career interest, it discusses about what a person is going to enjoy at workplace. You may find children, giving a lot of interest areas to them, whatever they have come across. But there may be many areas which they are not familiar with. They have to be handheld through a counseling process of giving knowledge about different careers where there is a possible interest for them. Interest is all about prioritization. There are different types of interest in an individual, and there are going to be, different interest priorities in them, which is going to help them make a career choice for them and the best career choice for them. In fact, we find that if a person doesn't hold a skill and ability, even the interest is there, they are possible to develop the skill and ability. All that they require is sufficient time, their level of preparation, and also a budget pertinent to it. They wouldn't have any kind of a challenge related to self-financing for a program, provided a person is holding a merit. How can a person hold a merit? How does that skill and ability, can be developed in a person? We find that they are interested, the skill and ability can be developed. Now you find these personality and interest are quite innate areas of an individual. Nobody can voluntarily develop it. It is a process of clarification. Your assessment process and aligning them with certain work natures gives them a hardcore clarity so that they'll be able to take the next step towards the career employment, career choices. Now, is that only personality enough? Is that only interest enough? Only skill and ability is enough? We also consider two more additional contributors, which is directly proportional to the growth of an individual. How does an employee in an entry level joining as a lower divisional clerk is being able to promote to further officers level? Highly it is possible because they have to know their own values. We also find ideally a student after completing the university studies, in the interview process, they are not able to impress the interviewers, correct? So what is that? There is a small gap, which is the individual value is not self-recognized. So that they would be developing a discussion during the interview process with the interviewer. These are the values I'm expecting to be, obtaining from this particular work nature. Will I be able to acquire it? The management or the organization will be very happy for people who are coming with definitely, values that they are expecting from their work and growth, because it is going to promise an organizational growth, right? People distributed in different functional areas uphold a good value for themselves, which is connected to their work nature. We see the collective brand value of the organization is actually, upgrowing. Right? So we will be discussing about a career value and what motivates them to stay for a longer career. Right? And also one more emotional point is the learning style of an individual. Now, we find in any education environment, there are children or people who are taking a lot of time to learn. There are few people who are quickly learning. What would be the major difference? The difference is because while that faculty or the tutor is training a student or a candidate, the methodology they deliver is not compatible for all the kind of learners. But they have very less opportunity to even communicate about which method best fits them to learn. Right? An individual goes through a learning curve which actually helps them to know the transit through the learning curve. Initially, they are in an exposure stage. Subsequently, by doing it number of times and spending more time on doing the activity, we find they graduate to then experience stage. They gain experience. Once they have gained experience, they also possibly by doing with different approaches, obtaining newer nuances so that they are able to conserve time and energy. And not only that, they are able to educate others as how to be so very effective, which is an expert stage. And then they move further to the excellence stage, where they become an architect of learning that model or doing that model, correct? So therefore, the learning style is also an important component which we consider in the career analysis. Why? Because a person's learning style will actually enable them to upskill themselves in a reasonable point of time. So these four are the psychometric innate factors of an individual, which is evaluated through an assessment process, and also along with an aptitude test for skill and ability to test what is their current level of skill and ability is being measured. Why are we doing this? Why are we even, asking these questions to these people or wanting to know about? First, we get to know about them, and subsequently, we actually tell them, we give them a self-awareness. What kind of a person they are, what they enjoy doing, how do they learn better, or what they are considering as a value for their growth, their self-worth, they are aware, along with the current skills and abilities, which can tell them, are they ready for employment, or they got to develop the skills and abilities. Correct? So the education roadmap is also attached to it. Because skills and abilities, when we test that something is inadequate, they will have to actually focus in developing it. Now, these skills can be, since we are actually possible to provide career guidance from a school level till the working professional. The education roadmap shall independently give each segment of our target audience what are the foundational competencies they are possible to acquire, and what are the core competencies which can make them employable, or even distinctive competencies which can actually directly assume higher level of positions. So these 5 are being assessed, observed and assessed, analyzed, and we explore them to the career opportunities in the ecosystem. If you can understand a statistical information about the career opportunities, there are more than 3,000 occupations, 12,000 job profiles. You know what? These are all distributed in different career fields, which we call as career cluster. What do we mean by cluster? What is clustered here? In a field, there are different occupations. They're all clustered together, which actually exhibit a common work nature, which is directly connected to their personality, interest, values, and learning style. Right? You can find a cognitive connect between the work nature and the individual behavior on the psychometric areas. So this is also called as a psychometric analysis, doing a cluster analysis. Under 20, industry currently has 20 career clusters or career fields, which includes science and technology, or science and biology, medical, or it can be business management, or somebody can be also looking at entrepreneurship, marketing, and advertising. Or there are people who wants to take up logistics and transportation. There are a few people who would like to make sports as a career, or arts as a career. When we say arts, it includes fine arts, drawing, painting as one segment, performing arts, which could be theater artists or instrumentalists or musicians, or even language arts, which is actually into interpreter or translator. We also have other career fields like hospitality and travel and tourism. Then we also have public safety and security. So this way, there are 20 career fields. I'm sure each one of you here who are already familiar with the career counseling services, you must be most of the careers familiar with them, right? A defined knowledge is to be acquired. Why? Because a student can have different psychometric behavior through which they may be suitable to different career paths also. What is this career path? There can be a student who is coming to you wanting to have a creative profile. And for this creative profile, if it is a professional practice demanded, normally people recommend architecture, which is one of the very renowned career, right? And when we would recommend that, now can a student who is in actually high school level is directly eligible to become an architect? Not possible, right? They'll have to graduate in architecture, which is a 5-year degree program across the world. But is that alone enough? There is a competitive exam called National Aptitude Test for Architecture, which recognizes architects as a professional practitioner under the Council of Architecture. Right? This is a global standard. And can any student join BArch or qualify NATA? The minimum eligibility criteria is during their pre-university education, which in most of the countries follows international board with diploma program, IBDP, or it could be IGCSE A level, which is about with the Cambridge. In the pre-university level education, you can find subject electives are actually made by the student to choose. Unfortunately, they make a random choice based on the provisions available in the country for the education system. Nobody can stop them if they're really more anxious about learning a subject, acquire knowledge, they can even go overseas and learn, correct? So world is providing a lot of opportunities. To build that courage, the child or the individual has to have the related information. So if you can see, out of 20 career clusters, there are 160 plus career paths. Under these 160 career paths, there are 3,000 occupations and 12,000 job profiles. So to directly sit for this huge number is actually an Herculean, laborious task. So the assessment process, what we recommend, shortlist the recommendations which are highly suitable to them. Or if somebody is yet to start a career journey, we give them more options. Okay, but if it is a person who is already into pre-university education or university education, where they can go and best fit is also a part of career guidance. How would you do it? An intensive analysis is required. Right? So how do you carry out this analysis? Is the crux of the training program what we offer. Okay, through which there would be shortlisted recommendations. From the recommendations, it becomes an easy process for you as a career counselor to focus on the career where there is suitability, collate and curate multiple informations about the opportunities available to take those educational journey, and also help them providing an education roadmap. So whatever I said now, you can find it begins with observation, continues with analysis, and the analysis is broken in 2 stages. You carry out a pre-counseling analysis also, so that you are not prepared, right? That should not be a challenge for you. And we don't recommend you to give a counseling as an extempo. Anyone coming to your office and saying, I would like to have a career guidance, what is the procedure? You tell them about the assessment. All right, I'll take the assessment now. And I will pay the money now. And I need the counseling now. That method doesn't work, isn't it? So this is a well-programmed, process line. So even to directly sit for counseling, you should have well be prepared, because as a beginner or people who are not very familiar with all the career opportunities, an intensive researching and analyzing is required. So you comfortably do it and have the counseling and guidance session in a separate day, in a programmed hour. You know what? With this method, you can be able to complete a counseling discussion which includes the pre-counseling and during counseling and post-counseling, an upper limit of 3 hours. You're possible to distribute the post-counseling or the pre-counseling in 1 day and 1 day for the counseling. So during the counseling, you would have curated all the information. Any questions the student or the candidate is asking, even the parent who are actually having a great plight about their child's future. So whatever they answer, you comfortably, swiftly answer. They must be amazed the way you do, very confidently delivering the counseling. Oh my God, this counselor has got so much of knowledge, correct? So that is something, which is actually icing on your cake. So you will be recommending, or rather, you will be empowering a student who is even at 13, 14, 15 years till their teenage to choose their career, having information from you about those careers. And ultimately, this becomes your during counseling discussion. Well then, after counseling, you just don't only enable them to choose a career choice, you also possibly give them an execution plan, which can be an educational journey. So what kind of, according to your country's local education system, what are the subject lines or electives available for the pre-university studies and university studies, all of them you will be able to give them a collective solution. So the process line, as I said, the pre-counseling activities includes observation to create self-awareness, and also by shortlisting and doing a pre-counseling analysis and shortlisting the number of careers. Out of 160 careers, you will not be able to sit for all the careers, so that you will be shortlisting 20, 30, 40 based on the psychometric factors. And then deliver a counseling which becomes an analysis during counseling. And then the step 4 is about post-counseling, providing an execution plan. This is what I would like to summarize and recommend as a very promising and also more accurate career guidance process. Okay. So next slide, please. How do we deliver this? I was speaking to you about observing their career personality, career interest. Are there any others in the industry similar to us doing? There are many schools of thoughts when they're providing career guidance. In fact, the method what they are following, if they consider career personality as a dimension, the renowned psychometric theories which have been evolving from 19th century are still in practice, right? So we find most of them use Carl Jung theory. Carl Jung is actually, known as a father of personality theory, or, career personality theory. He derived in 1859 about 8 kinds of personality types. Each of them was compatible for, a career which can be connected with accounting and finance, or business management, or sports, or technology, or medical. Right? This was a solution with that model Carl Jung could give. Of course, the centuries moved. In the early 20th century, we all are aware, right, that there was a great industrial revolution. Many schools of thoughts, according to the new age careers which came up at that time, they tried to work on research on the limitations left behind Carl Jung. So one such was a mother and daughter by name Myers and Briggs, who lived in America. So they derived additional 8 more types and included to Carl Jung model. So they are famously known as MBTI 16. And there are few people who are constantly working on validation about Big Five as a theory, which is highly applied in the professional area. So the employers or the employees at mid or senior career, in their succession planning, either through an internal hiring or an external hiring, they apply this particular theory to find out where an individual's personality as a strength is actually hidden, right? Where, what kind of job roles they are highly suitable, how it is actually going to behave as a strength to them. So these are the 3 theories which are very highly renowned in the industry, providing career guidance. When it comes for career interest, 99 out of 100 people use RIASEC model, which is given by John Howland, a famous theorist or a psychologist, right? So the RIASEC model, I'm going to give you a very small glimpse of what I cover in my training in this particular area. So the knowledge area today will be covered on the career interest. Okay, I will go in detail about it subsequently. Next slide, please. Then, as I said that we are also considering learning style. So this is being assessed with a theory given by Neil Fleming. And this is renownedly known as VARK theory. Okay. And when it comes for the skills and abilities, we consider David Battery's differential aptitude. So wherever we are actually carrying out a comprehensive assessment, which includes personality, interest, values, learning style, in doing a career planning, we also test their skills and abilities, I said, right? So for that, we use question banks from David Battery's differential aptitude. And when it comes for, we also provide solution for young children who could be in an age group between 6 years to 12 years, who largely in more countries fall in a grade category between grade 1 to grade 6. So we also have a solution. Of course, you might be wondering, what are we doing? Will we be able to assess and analyze their personality or their psychometric factors? You are right. We are not testing their personality or interest or values or learning style. There are many psychologists here. You will agree with me, I suppose. This is an age where the child's brain growth is more rapid, right? Their skill building will be, very, very hyper responsive. They'll be very quickly learning things. So what we do is we test their skills and abilities at multiple intelligence level. And we recommend any kind of an ancillary career or ancillary career skills that they can acquire, which is connected to their bodily kinesthetics. In this assessment, we follow the question banks from Harvard Gardner's multiple intelligence theory. So this is a standalone model. So there are many types of assessments in our process we recommend, which can customize a career need. So this career guidance is actually a need analysis. What is a need, which involves an interventional process of probing them? The assessment of these 5 dimensions simplifies about their suitability to limited careers from a macro list. Okay, next slide, please. As I said, as I assured, this is an interesting segment to discuss about interest inventory. All right. So, as I said, this was given by a famous psychologist, John Holland, which is also familiarly known as Rhetoric model or 6-factor theory or hexagonal model, which defines that each and every individual here, you, me, and everyone, right? So all of us hold our own interest priorities with reference to the work nature. So this is called as career interest, right? So these 6 types of interest is going to be the subject of discussion today. I will do my best what much you are able to learn from the objective of this knowledge area, right? So this Rhetoric model, can I go to the next slide? Okay, I will go by one, right? So there are 6 types of interest. The first interest type is actually realistic interest. People with realistic interest are called as doers. As you know, interest is all about enjoying to do something. So these people who are realistic interest holders, they enjoy doing a lot of practical activities, hands-on practical activities, which involves a high-level physical task. Now, these physical tasks they enjoy carrying out is possible to be indoor or outdoor. There are 2 probabilities. Let us watch what do they do when they are indoor. Indoor related physical activity mostly deals with meddling or working with objects, tools, machines, and raw materials. The moment I say these tools or machines they use, I'm sure you're able to connect most of the careers connected with manufacturing. Manufacturing, any kind of technology related areas. It can connect with electrical, electronics, mechanical, automobile, wherever there is a production involved. Correct? We find machinery is used, tools, raw materials are used. Correct? And this can also connect with careers which are related to any production. It can be a food or garment. People who are involved into high level productions also involve high level physical activity. You can see they hold objects, tools, raw materials, correct? It is not only limited to indoor, there are many careers which are connected with outdoor related activities. I'm sure with the image here, you're able to connect the profile which involves public safety and security, especially people who are into army, navy, defense, or law enforcement. You find that most of their people, most of the resources, they're outdoors in order to ensure safety and security. Their outdoor related physical activity involves a realistic interest to be even a primary interest for them. Well, next important career is sports. I trust easily you can connect that sports involves a huge level of physical activity. It could be an athletics, any part of athletics, or any team game, which can be cricket or tennis or badminton or football, whatever, right? Whichever involves physical activity. So this is what is about the realistic interest. I would like to give you an understanding. I trust the examples given are actually, useful. Even the careers related to logistics and transportation. People who are commercial pilot, people who are marine engineers, travelers who are actually merchant navy, all these people, you find that they all have chosen these careers because they enjoy doing physical activity in one or the other form, either indoor or outdoor. Okay, I trust my pace is fine. You are able to understand what I'm delivering. So Fatima, can I request with you whether my pace is fine or should I have to little bit more reduce?
I think it is best we understand that from our participants. If you all can just, put in a quick yes if the pace that the speaker is using, the trainer is using, Ms. Radha, if that is comfortable, that will help us. If you all can use the chat box to let us know that if the pace of the trainer is all right. Is it a comfortable pace? Okay. Salma, thank you. Madeline, thank you. Yes, Radha, I think
Thank you
we
so
are good
much.
to proceed.
Thank you so much. Next slide, please, Abhishek. Yes. The next type of interest is actually investigative interest. These people are called as thinkers, right? What do they enjoy thinking? They enjoy deep thinking, researching, and analyzing. All these are actually in order to apply their highest level of intellect and solve problems. Any careers which involves intellectual problem solving using technology or science or maths, you find their careers are actually, primary interest is investigative interest. It is the top interest for them. To reiterate once again, the careers which involves deep thinking, researching, analyzing in order to apply their high level intellect and solve problems, they would apply either technology or science or maths in order to solve their intellectual problems. We can directly connect it with all research scientists, right? Scientists, okay, scientific researchers, who could be in a research design or even in a research and development, a new product design or in a new product development, which can be directly connected with any of the engineering fields, correct? Which connects with the physics related areas, right? And you can find the chemical and also biological researchers involved also with high level investigative interest. Their objective is to define a problem statement and give a new findings or develop some new findings from the existing facts. So we find that investigative interest is the primary interest for people who are scientific researchers. Another important career which will have investigative interest more high in them is the doctor. If I say doctors solve medical problem, I trust you will be able to understand. Because when you go to a doctor, the doctor asks you first, what is your medical problem? As a patient, we are likely to give our symptoms. Basis the symptoms, they connect with their scientific study in the medical field and they identify what could be the medical problem and they provide suitable medical services. It could be a consultation related to giving medicines or any kind of a surgical process. So you need not have any doubt that doctor's primary interest is investigative interest. I was speaking about a career architect in the initial time when I was discussing, correct? In fact, many people think that architects are creative, but their primary interest is investigative. So why would any person approach an architect? They are not able to conclude a building structure or a building plan or more an aesthetic model of their building. So they approach an architect. The architect checks of the individual. Where is your property? What is the dimension of your property? What is the frontage of your property? How can be the free space investment collected? What could be the road width? How many floors would you like to construct? And also, how many square feet you would like to construct? What is your budget? Based on these different inputs only, they analyze a building plan and a building design. This is a problem which they solve, correct? So don't be surprised. Even for an architect, investigative interest is the primary interest. Then when you come for people who are actually chartered accountants, software engineers, who could be, in information and technology, they can be taking any profile as a software program architect or a programmer and a developer or an ethical hacker or a video game designer or even mobile app development, or they can be into any kind of robotic process automation, or it can include blockchain engineering, or it can also include artificial intelligence. So all these careers you find, they provide software as a service or product as a service or infrastructure as a service as a problem solution, right? Which is able to solve the data related problem or product automation problem or a networking problem. So in everywhere where they are applying an high level intellect, you observe investigative interest is possible to be the dominant interest in them. This includes a data scientist, okay, and a doctor, an architect, a software engineer, right? I think you're all clear. Can I proceed? with the next interest type? Can I have an yes? Can I have a yes? Okay. Abhishek, can you move to the next slide, please? Okay. The next interest type is artistic interest. People who hold artistic interest dominant in them are called as creators. Right? So why are we calling them as creator? They come out with a lot of huge out-of-the-box thinking. They're highly imaginative. They reflect a very, very high-level new ideas. Right? They actually have a big picture about anything that they do. They would be able to visualize that. They would be more creative. Anything which is different from the usual. They would like to amaze others, adding an attractive element to whatever they are doing. They build aesthetics to it. All these descriptions, I'm sure you're able to connect any careers coming under the arts and language. That's correct. Which can be into kind of a designing, which can reflect in designing, a fashion designer, an interior designer, a web designer, a multimedia animation game designer, in fact, photography also. The creativity in photography is actually a solid example for the artistic interest, which is very high in them. Okay. And when you take people who are actors, performing artists, all these people also possess high level creativity in them. They do not play a routine or monotonous characteristics, correct? The theater artist also. And when it comes for a lot of language arts, it could be a creative writing, right? So all these are high because of the creativity, different from usual, reflecting on lateral thinking, which includes thinking out of the box, which can reflect as a design or a new idea, or it is actually building aesthetics to it, or improving more attraction for others to come and take it up. So this way, we find that artistic interests hold a primary interest or more dominant interest in these careers. If that is clear, I would like to move to the next interest type. Abhishek, next slide, please. Thank you. So the next interest type, I think the image can itself say, it is social interest. People with social interest are called as helpers, right? So we find that the helping others is actually coming out of deepest empathy in an individual. They reflect a huge level of empathy, warmth, care, and compassion over others. They would like to connect with others and deal with their emotions. When I say emotions, it can connect with happy emotions, and entertainment, a motivation, and inspiration, building relationship, which is possible to be interpersonal or intrapersonal, or it is possible to be connecting with people to bring them out of a pain, which could be a physical pain or a mental pain. Or the physical pain people are actually nurses, people who are into the paramedics. They care for the patients, right? The image itself is saying that. And when you take for the mental pain, you can conclude psychologist. They can be clinical or counseling psychologist. Both of them possess the social interest highly dominant in them. Okay. And it can also include careers related to education. It's a service, right? Literacy, providing literacy is a service. So it is also considered the school teachers or the collegiate faculties, people, all these people involved in training, they all hold social interest as their dominant interest. So that is what is actually driving them to go and enjoy these works, which I would not limit to people who are into public services, sociology. They could be a part of the government social welfare, or they could be any kind of an NGO, the community health workers. During this pandemic situation, we find that there are so many people socially so very conscientious, have been contributive in serving many people who have been suffering, correct? So social interest has been very high in these people. It's more creating an impact, an empathy, a care, right? So this is about the social interest. Once again, I'm repeating, it could be possibly in, the social interest is they would like to connect with people. They enjoy connecting with others in order to help them, provide services to them, dealing with their dealing with their emotions, and it could be an happy emotion, or it could be a sad emotion, or it could be a pain. All these careers who are into this relationship building, healers, and also it could be a physical health or a mental health, or who would like to socially serve the community. All these people, even including the education segment, all of them hold social interest which is very high in them. Right? Next slide, please. I hope getting to know about intensively on all these areas is really, liked by you. I hope, I trust. Right? I hope it is interesting. Okay. So learning about the next interest type is about enterprising interest. People with enterprising interest are called as persuaders. Persuading means pushing others to do some activity. They enjoy it. Right? To make it more positive, let us actually substitute by the word influencing. People with enterprising interest can be also called as influencers. They have 3 key objectives to influence others. What are they? Whenever there is a business objective or a business gain, they actually would like to influence others, like people in the marketing, sales, business management, entrepreneurship. You can find in all these careers, enterprising interest is dominant because they influence others, the consumers, to buy the product or the service, correct? Secondly, another object of influencing is to lead others. Because when you find people who exhibit leadership, they influence others with their viewpoint. And you find they involve a situational problem solving as well as a part of their leadership. When they lead others, they influence, they are showing, they are demonstrating a situational problem solving. If you closely observe in any work nature, there are 2 kinds of problem solving. One is an intellectual problem solving. Whenever there is a math, science, or technology, this is actually connected with intellectual problem solving. Another scenario is situational problem solving. There is a situation, we have to influence there with our viewpoint, correct? That's a active part of the leadership, which is also enterprising interest, right? Where there is high level influence. Even you can see in the business management, marketing, entrepreneurship, they also, exhibit lot of, or also entrepreneurship profile, like a CXO, CEO, all these people, demonstrate high level influencing on their team. Charismatic leaders, even the politicians, correct? And not only about business objective and leadership, they also like to influence others whenever there is risk taking. We find that not everyone is ready to take risk. Not everyone is ready to experience. But these people who have enterprising interest persuade others to take risk. So when you find all these are there in a composition in individual, you're possible to find enterprising interest is highly dominant in them, which can make them employable as an entrepreneur or take up any kind of entrepreneurship profile in business management, working for an organization. Self-start a business and lead the business, or to join a leadership role in any of the business entity, right? Or this can be, as I said, with the politicians and in fact lawyers. This is very high. They have to influence the entire court, including the judge, in favor of the victim who is being allegated, correct? They have to put their viewpoint and have to speak about logics attached to it. So they are actually always looking about the win-win situation, right? So no surprise, even a lawyer possesses high-level enterprising interest in them, right? I trust, even if you take mass media and communication, right? We call often this visual media, we call the TRP ratings, right? Television rating point, and we also check out in print media how many circulations have actually been for the magazines, right? How much we are leading about the other magazines. So this is also, more that competitive spirit, correct? It's all a part of business objective, leadership, and risk taking. I trust this is clear. Can I move to the next slide, please? Thank you. The last but not the least, conventional interest. People with conventional interest are called as organizers. What do they enjoy doing? People holding conventional interest high in them, they enjoy working with data, facts, and figures. They are not particular about only the data which are raw facts. They are also ready to observe or collect and curate and work on data which can be fussy as well. Either a structured or an unstructured data, they will fully start to work, which can connect with an accountant or a chartered accountant or a cost accountant or cost management accountant. And this can be also, when it is unstructured data, they're possible to work as a financial analyst or an investment analyst or actuarian who actually is a professional practice in the field of insurance. And also it could be a chartered financial analyst. So all these are the careers which not only involve to people who are good in maths, this actually works with huge level of data interpretation. So it doesn't, confine with a data scientist also. You find that a data scientist or a data analyst who are processing the data, they also have high level conventional interest in them. They work with either the fuzzy data or the real-time data, which I said in the accounting and finance possible, correct? And not only limited to data, facts, and figures they'd like to work with, they also like to organize, plan, structurize things and work as per the structure. So manage and follow a system. So when I say system, you can connect that any professional areas of working under the government services. It can be a civil administrative officer, or it could be an person who is into administrative, any kind of administrative and management profiles. You find conventional interest is very high. Even if you take in education and training segment, there are two important profiles which hold conventional interest is highly dominant in them. We found teachers are highly social, right? But when you find people who are librarians, the principal or the headmaster or the headmaster or the dean of an institution, all of them, they are actually, more interested in organizing and, structuralizing the education system in the educational environment. So all these people possess conventional interest. Wherever you find being organized is required, you find their primary interest is conventional. If you take the career legal services, a lawyer is actually more enterprising, but a judiciary is more conventional. They follow the rule book, the constitution of the country. They would like to go anything within the framework of the law, which is already paved. Policies, structure, standard operating procedure, or a particular system, all these are covered under the conventional interest, which I said can go with an example of librarian, accounting and finance, which could be an accountant or a financial or an investment analyst or a data analyst, or people who are working for the government services in civil administration. Okay, I trust the 6 knowledge areas are to an extent clear, right? Within a short time, I've been able to create an impact in you about the knowledge I trust. Okay, so using all these, how do we actually do a career mapping? How would we help a student or a candidate to make a career choice? Next slide, please. So what we do is, amongst the 6 interest priorities through the assessment, each of the interest priority is measured in a scale of 100. And they are possible to score any level of scores between 0 to 100. That means the assessment questions have helped them to enable, yes, I am interested in this. No, I am not interested in this. They will be able to differentiate. And while we list those interest scores in descending order, highest to lowest, the top 3 interests alone best correlate for a work nature. So that alone is taken for consideration, and whatever the work nature it is compatible, we recommend that you will be super happy here. Say, for example, it has to be read from left to right. You can see which is displayed here is conventional, working with data, facts, and figures, planning, organizing, controlling, managing, following systems, right? This is actually, the highest level of interest, followed by enterprising. So working with data in a business environment and analyzing about it. So we find that it can be best suiting for accounting and finance. An accountant is actually right example here. So I trust you understand with this method, the primary, secondary, and tertiary interest are considered to be, very highly dominant in an individual. And based on the correlation between them, you find that an accountant works in a business environment and does a mathematic applied for identifying the debits and credits, expenditures and sales, right? And based on that, they arrive at a trial balance. So this is what is the role of an accountant. So the work nature and the interest characteristics are also matching to make an individual holding these interest priorities dominant in them. To find out accountancy being a dominant career for them. Okay, so next slide, please. I'd like to give one more career to make it, little easy to observe the concept, because my next activity is something, super exciting activity. So let me again, help you how to approach this. Always the interest priorities, only top 3 interests are considered, while each of the interests are measured in a scale of 100. So the primary interest here is enterprising. So the individual holds a lot of business objective for which they would like to influence, and also leadership, and also they would like to take risk. So which is in the primary position. So we can understand it could be a business environment. Then connecting with people. So connecting with people, as I said, it is in the second position, right? Here, not all of the social interest characteristics are applied, only selective of them. So this is about, relationship, building relationship, caring for others, being empathetic and compassionate on others, and also would like to regulate certain policies or being structured and organized. So in a business environment, caring for people, who is more organized? So when you try to connect between the dots, you get to understand this can be more suitable for human resources, right? Because human resource is actually for a business environment in order to develop, build, and also, build, develop, and also sustain relationship between the different functional employees. The human resource personnel is engaged. That's a business objective. They like to lead the rest of the people with a care and also compassion and ensuring relationship building. And also they are actually following a policy. Correct? So this is actually connected with HR. So I trust this is actually very interesting, right? Okay, let me see. I can see some wows also, right? Let me actually, enhance your wow factor. Shall we have a quiz time? Can we all test from the short understanding, whatever you had conceptually, how are you able to reproduce? It's a quiz time, polling time. Okay, so I'd like to switch the screen to polling. Okay, thank you so much. I will be allotting about some 40 seconds to 50 seconds for every question. I'll be calling out the question. These are all objective type questions, okay, with responses which are closed-ended answers. Based on the understanding of the concepts and its prioritization, you will have to map the career, right? Please, I would request you to each of you enjoy doing it. Okay, so let me put the first polling question. Okay, here is the career. I'm publishing the question. Kindly confirm, Fatima, if you're able to see the question.
Yes, I'm able to see the first one.
Okay. The finding the most suitable career for an interest priority, while the primary interest is realistic. Secondary interest is investigative and tertiary interest is artistic. That means the primary objective is to do physical activity using tools, raw materials, machineries, or objects, and also would like to apply an intellectual problem solving. There can be an utilization of technology or science or maths. Then we also find it is a creative profile too. So in a particular physical activity related environment, which career can be more intellectual problem solving and creative? The options given are 4: microbiology, psychology, automobile designing, and medical science. You know what's super exciting? Maximum number of people have given the right answer. Should I hold or can I publish the answers? Fatima?
I think we can wait for 5 more seconds and we can display the results.
Done. I am really, so much impressed about you people. Maximum number of people have given the right answer. It is fantabulous. Yes, without no any further delay, let me publish the answer. It is automobile designing. Right? Almost 60% of the people have given the right answer. No wonder the remaining 40% of the people, you can make it up in the next activity. Can I run one more? Is there an S? Fatima, can you help me in the chat?
Yes, I am seeing.
Is there any yes from the audience? Are they enjoying it?
Yes, lot of yeses.
That's really great. Okay, let me publish the next question. Again, same in the realistic area. The primary interest is physical activity, okay, which involves a lot of indoor or outdoor related physical activities. And next is again an intellectual problem solving, which is connecting with people, caring for people. So is physical activity which connects with intellectual problem solving, either science or maths, and also it connects with people, taking care of people, being warm at people, caring for people. But compared to the social interest, realistic interest is high, physical activity is high, right? Social interest is actually next in priority, but the primary priority is physical activity. Which is the career out of here which has got more physical activity, intellectual problem solving, and connecting with people? Outstanding. Maximum number of people have given the right answer. It is physiotherapy is the right answer. Close to 50% of the people have given the right answer. In fact, when I was saying that before, I said no, the social interest is relatively next in priority to physical activity. Over then, initially people had actually suggested psychology. Once I told that physical activity is more, I saw a lot of graphing was going about physiotherapy. Yes, what a spontaneous set of people you people are. My God. Okay. All right. Let me get into the next activity. Okay. The question here is about the primary interest is investigative, intellectual problem solving. They're possible to use science or technology, and they would like to connect with people and do a lot of physical activities. Where intellectual problem solving is more, this is applied with connecting people and taking care of people, and which is also involving physical task. Wow. I think every time I find maximum number of people are giving the correct answer. The options given are accountant, business analyst, lawyer, and doctor. Fantabulous. This is maximizing. Believe me, 72% of the people have given right answer. 73, doctor. So doctor's primary interest to investigate as what is the medical problem. And when the patients are actually, with a lot of concern or, insecurity, they actually, say that their pain is so much, and the doctors compose them, right? They're very compassionate and empathetic on them and promises them and assures them that they will be treating their medical problem and get into a physical activity of the treatment, correct? 73%. Fabulous now, Fatima?
It's actually, I'm very happy to see these results actually. It's a
Correct.
very, very highly involved crowd, I can see.
In fact, there is no doubt about it, and maximum number of people are giving right answers. I'm just
And this
wondering.
is the third time in row, most of them have given the right answers.
Correct. And maximum number, first one was 60, second was 57%, then now it is 73. The graph is increasing.
Increasing, right.
That's really good. And I don't know how to appreciate these people. I'll have to find new words, right? Okay. Super exciting. Okay. Let me go to the next career option. Okay, now, all right, this is an interesting example. Okay, so here the interest priorities are: primary interest is artistic, secondary interest is enterprising, and tertiary interest is realistic. That means people are more creative, design, and then they are more new in whatever they're doing, and also they influence others in order to take those designs or the creativity, and also they involve into the physical activity. I am wondering whether they all hold knowledge already, or able to quickly analyze from the concepts, or are they actually, very instantly, getting the knowledge. I'm wondering what could be the reason.
It's a very
Here again,
intelligent and a smart crowd, Radha.
sorry?
It's a very intelligent and a smart crowd, I see.
True, doubtless about it. And I'm super amazed with their responses. Interior designing, as is, it's a right answer. 60% of the people, 61% of the people have given the right answer. I don't know what to say. I think each one of you are excited.
A lot of them are saying that you are a good teacher. Maybe that is why.
Okay, thank you so much. I think if you have got, if I'm able to bring in this kind of a knowledge change in you, but it's a short time, definitely, I'm taking that appreciations from you. I'm taking it from my heart. Thank you so much. Okay, and should I go for one more question? Is there a demand? Is there a
Yes,
demand?
there are a lot of yeses coming.
Oh, nice. Okay. Yes, let me fetch the questions. Okay, there is an interesting question. I'm going to be finding how many of them are here. Okay, the question is here about social is the primary interest, caring for others, connecting with others, building relationship with others. Okay, very empathetic and approachable about others, very warm and comfortable to others, and they would like to influence them, right? Lead them, guide them, and also they are possible to be, more creative in their activities, or even, applying their intellect in problem solving. Who can this be? Civil services, career counselors, doctors, and logistics and supply chain. I'm sure, Fatima, the 80% of the crowd who has given the correct answer, they're actually born to become this. That's why they're all here.
I can see that.
Yeah. Their career counselor is the right answer. And believe me, 82% of the people have actually, given the right answer. I am able to visualize the career counselor spirits in each one of you by this answer. It's really surprising. And for the first time in any of my webinars, I'm finding this kind of a huge response rate. I am excited. I don't know about you people, but I'm able to visualize that how much of knowledge and capacities each one of you hold. Great. Can we make only one more and close the polling? Is time there, Fatima?
We can take one more and we can move forward.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much. Because I'm also looking at the interest of everyone involved. I cannot keep only holding the session, right? Okay. All right. Here is a best example. So the interest priorities includes enterprising, which is actually influencing others. There can be a business objective. There can be a leadership and situational problem solving, and also connecting with people, and which also involves intellectual problem solving. So situational problem solving is more priority. Intellectual problem solving is following, and then connecting with people. So the options are lawyer, software engineers, education and training, and human resource management. You know what? Not even one set of question I have asked, there have been, the right answer given in lesser population. Would like to influence others, be more enterprising, and while influencing, they would like to lead others and solve their situational problem solving, do their situational problem solving. and also more apply their intellect, also intellectual problem solving, in order to help people.
This is a tricky one.
Influencing is high rather than connecting with people. Problem solving is more rather than connecting with people. I think there is a slight challenge in identifying it. It is not the social interest which is high. It is the enterprising interest which is high. Who influence, who lead others in order to solve the situational problem, then highest level of intellect they apply. They analyze, research, which is connected with human problem. Yes, this is a tough example, right? So 27% of the people have given lawyers, which is the third highest in score. So this is for the answer is lawyer. Okay. Software engineers are more investigative. Education and training is more social. Okay. And if you take librarian in education and so in training, it will be more conventional. They are not enterprising mode. Human resource, they are enterprising, but they are not more investigative. They are more social and conventional. They follow a policy. So I think it was actually a good experience for each one of you. I trust each one of you enjoyed it, right? So I think we will stop the polling here. Good to go to the rest of the part of the discussions. Fatima, is the audience are fine?
Yes.
Okay.
So yes.
Okay. So I'm just holding the polling, and can I request Abhishek to go back to the slide, please? Seriously, Abhishek is of a very great help. Thank you, Abhishek. It was quite exciting, right? The quiz time. In fact, most of the training sessions will be highly interactive like this. A little bit of lecture and more of knowledge acquisition through interactive activities. This is what we actually, practice. Make your learning experience more enjoyable. So how do we make this training knowledge to you? Next slide, please. See, ideally, should we actually see this interest is something which in a reasonable point of time you are able to map to a career. But you find that often a similar interest type or interest priorities are compatible to more than one or two careers. Or you find a same career is compatible to more than two types of interest. In this situation, which one do we actually be taking decision with? A candidate, of course, cannot pursue two careers, right? Belonging to a particular interest type, you find for a investigative, conventional and enterprising interest, it can be highly suitable for a data scientist as well as a chartered accountant, correct? But which one should a student go? One is related to accounting and finance, another is connected with information and technology. The individual will always have this contemplation, right? As a career guide, how would you actually solve that? Based on interest, if you take a decision, what will you consider about their nature? That should also be compatible, right? Because often people keep saying that, the interest is bound to change. From the field of psychology, we never, disagree with that. The mood swings are quite possible. That's the reason, we collect their preferences and their nature in a specific state of mind, and we process the recommendations based on it. Because it is an absolute mind control related activity in making a career choice. So doing an unidimensional analysis is actually not very effective. It has got its own limitations. So we are actually practicing a multi-dimensional analysis. Psychometrically, 4 dimensions are considered along with skills and abilities. But however, a holistic career guidance involves a 360-degree analysis. What are they? What can be the other ideal conditions to actually sense that suitability, be more happy? So a multi-dimensional analysis is actually persuaded. So the collective, correlation between those dimensions, how would you actually understand that? Many cases we find interest goes in one direction, personality goes in another direction. What are the correlating factors which is compatible to many new age careers now? Okay, so we have to actually understand that. Next slide, please. The collective certified career analyst training program, what we provide, gives you a comprehensive knowledge of this multidimensional analysis. The assessment is the first step, beginning on the important dimensions which are actually not possible to observe in a colloquial discussion. So an assessment process is involved. So those selective questions have been chosen and forms a best method to provide recommendations which are closer to the individual psychometric behaviors. Finding that we are actually providing the necessary skills and abilities in case it has to be developed. Or if they hold those skills and abilities already, we see that they are immediately employable and tell them where their strength lies and approach the employment opportunity accordingly. So all these collective learning are embedded in this certified career analyst program. We don't call you just as a career counselors alone. There is a good level of analysis involved to give the best amongst the better options. Next slide, please. In this training program, it is actually, divided into two parts. Okay, this is actually about the level 1 training I'm speaking about. We also offer level 2 training, which is called as Certified Career Analyst Edupreneur program. So there are 4 parts of training in Edupreneur program. But to focus with Certified Career Analyst program, to be a certified career counselor, you hold that badge. Many people are possible to ask you, are you a psychologist? Because, I have had people who have been from the government sectors, from the IT top-notch companies, even at a director level, who would like to, content themselves with the passion they have of guiding others. To obtain a defined knowledge, they have approached us and enrolled in this program. So in this particular certification program, they are also badged. Right? This is an applied psychology. Acquiring knowledge about the career also is equally important, other than being empathetic and compassionate. So how these concepts are connected to the work nature, we will be, giving a detailed model in which I was beginning with a career counseling as a process, right? So that will be more elaborately explained. And different theories, which we are considering, will give you an in-depth understanding. As we discuss career personality as a dimension in detail, and then career interest as a dimension in detail, and combining career personality and interest when there is an objection raised for them for the psychometric factors to be changing. What are the correlating areas between personality and interest, which is a 2-dimensional analysis? How to do the process will be learned to you, and also how to analyze the learning style of an individual and give recommendations. Then we also consider the values and motivators, which helps a growth-oriented career. Of course, these 4 are psychometric assessments, which helps us in making a career field, choose a career field. All right. But having chosen a career field, what kind of skill and ability? So we also will be covering a particular theory to the skill and ability, how the aptitude test gives the actual available skills in them, and how they need to groom it. And what are the psychometric factors which are contributing for them to skill develop. Okay, this is available in a psychometric assessment to provide career guidance for children who are between school children, okay, who are between 13 years to 19 years. And when we say from 20 years onwards, people who are mostly going for university studies. Okay, till they are 25 years, they could be in an undergraduation or post-graduation or even freshers. After that, they are possible to be early, mid, or senior careers. So we apply these 5 dimensions in all these assessments. But as a matter of fact, we include one more component called emotional quotient or emotional intelligence. This is against the workplace pressure according to the climate or culture, which can be experienced by a person. This is not measured for a school student level, which is more connected with the organizational climate or culture, their workplace behavior, with reference to how they respond to situations. Okay, so the emotional quotient are possibly, checked in careers candidates who are at the graduate level and working professional. Why? They might be suitable with reference to the interest, personality, values, learning style. But still, there could be some possibilities that they are struggling in workplace to develop even relationship with their peers or their higher authorities or with the reporting circle. They find it as a stress. We find in many social medias, I had a very bad boss. My peers are not, very coordinative with me. So such complaints we do keep sharing, right? Getting shared. Often when you wonder, there could be many people who are advocating them to quit the job. But will the quitting the job serve? It will not serve. So emotional quotient analysis is actually, going to be giving them a knowledge where they need to improve on their soft skills. So this is also being measured, as I said, for the professional level. All right. So these are the 6 dimensions which we will be in depth understanding during the training program. Okay. And not only the independent dimensions, what is the core methodology in doing a 4-dimensional analysis model, which is called as career cluster analysis, and a 5-dimensional analysis model, which is called as a career path analysis. So when you understand these collective analysis, you will know what is the core methodology applied in career analysis. So this is the part 1 of the level 1 training. Second slide, please. After understanding the theories and concepts, we have to equip ourselves through case studies. So we will be at least fetching 2 to 3 reports or 4 reports and discussing about how we can provide recommendations. So sample reports will be picked up, one between an age category between 13 to 16 years, who is normally in high school education. So the IB MYP system or IGCSE O-level system follows a class studies between normally 7th grade, 8th grade and 9th grade. We found that, in most of the overseas countries, this is the high school education slab, who fall in an age category between 13 years to 16 years. And when it is coming for pre-university or senior secondary, we find their age group is between 17 years to 19 years. In this stage, they are actually in grade 10, 11 and 12. The elective in which field they are going to further do their higher education has to be chosen. And for that, the graduation degree or the subject taken, they should be thorough about, if I'm going to take up these subjects, these are the mainstream careers open for me. And if I take those careers, how will I be suitable for that? Okay, this is a self-analysis for an individual through the assessment we give. Next is for graduates who are in the process of doing their university studies at an undergraduate level or postgraduate level. All that they need is what occupation to choose, right? Next is about the working professional. They are possible to be in early or mid-career. So 3 to 4 reports. How is the approach technique to provide guidance? Which are the important, other pre-counseling questions which can make you make a decision, which allows you to make a decision, will be a discussion, part of the discussion in this particular session. So this is the part 2 of the level 1. So once you complete this, next slide, please. We provide this training in a span of 5 days time, which would start from Monday through Friday. And each day there will be about 3 hours of live session. We'll be connected online. Zoom is the interface which will be actually used. The session would be recorded. You are actually, possible to interact during the learning. And because, the learning will be, carefully, delivered, how you interact well and learn, do and learn. Lot of activities doing and learning will be happening there. So collectively 15 hours of live session should hold a good knowledge in, acquisition in you. However, instead of taking the certification exams, I won't involve you into a test of examination immediately as I started the quiz now. Okay, you have an allowance of about 2 to 3 months to complete the exam. But normally, people who are actually, excited to get certified soon, they complete the journey in 1 month's time. So in the following 2nd week, 3rd week, 4th week, There a lot of self-paced learning will be enabled. You will be engaged into assignments, practice test, how you will approach the final exam, building your confidence on the subject matter expertise. All will involve an interaction with you, with the trainer who has trained you in a one-on-one. The group training will be over with the first week. Second, third, and fourth week, you will be having 3 different assignments, which is good enough to have a mock practice and also a practice test, which is similar to the final exam for certification, will be also enabled to you online. And this final exam for certification happens only on a Saturday, and you can choose any slot on that Saturday. Once you register for a particular Saturday, the registration link would reach you on the immediately after registration or just before the day of your examination. The link but opens only by 12 a.m. your country zone, and will be open till 11 p.m. the same day. And this is only on Saturdays. Any 40 minutes comfortable to you, you can choose, log in and give your exams, and results are instantly published after the 40 minutes of exam. And your certification with the label of CCA badge will be delivered to you in the next following 3 weeks' time. All right, Radha, what is the pass criteria? Securing 65% is the minimum pass criteria. And my students, whoever I've trained, have never secured anything less than 85%. That is the level of involvement as a company, as a trainer, we uphold and ensure that your certification vouchers minimum 80 to 85%. There have been people who have scored 95 and 100 also. This is something which you will have to experience. I cannot demonstrate it now verbally. I can demonstrate it as you enroll and learn concepts. Okay, next slide, please. That's all, right? From my side, I'm very thankful to have been very patiently listening to me. I hope I did make some impact. You got some little knowledge, I suppose. So I'm really, honored and proud to be with a time with you people, and so very exciting. 200 plus people are still, holding the session for past 1 hour, patiently listening to me. And I hope the session was interesting. Wonderful audience you are. God bless each of you. I'm looking forward for people who are really looking to learn more in the sooner upcoming batches. Over to Fatima. Thank you very much, Fatima.
Thank you so much, Radha. I think it was not just interesting, it was highly insightful as well as very engaging. And there were a lot of comments and compliments that came up in the chat specifically for you. And a lot of private chats also reached out to me on the tool as well as on the WhatsApp number as well. So I think you've done a phenomenal job as always. Thank you so much, Radha, for joining us. We'll hold you back. We'll hold you back for some more time because there are some questions for you. So I'll request you to please stay back. I understand you have another training session.
Yes, by 6:30. So yes, I'll have to maximum exit by 6:15. Please help me doing that.
Absolutely. Yes, we'll not hold you more than that, but we'd really love to have you here and get some of the questions addressed. All right.
Sure.
But before we move to the question and answer segment, as announced in the start, that there are 2 important and special announcements for everyone. And there was also a word that went out from our end that there is a possibility for you to be eligible for a part scholarship for our Certified Career Analyst program. In the next 10 minutes, we will be announcing that specifically. All right, so stay tuned. Now, while all of us have got into understanding the reason why career counseling is important, right? We've already understood, and I think we acknowledge this as a fact, that it's a global issue. It's a global challenge. It's not just restricted to a certain country. And that is why Certified Career Analyst as a program intervenes as a solution. So more and more resources like you, more and more professionals like you can step into this industry and start contributing towards this global cause. And while you do that, you also are doing it professionally, right? Now, while we are understanding one side of the problem, we also need to understand the other side of the problem. One might wonder, are there people actually looking for career counselors? Now, I think this slide will make it clear for each and every one of you that this is a this is the snapshot that we have taken from the Google console itself. For those who are already aware about the Google console, will be able to understand us better. But if you don't, just look at the searches that are happening globally. Look at how many number of searches that are happening globally. If you just look at the word career, there are people looking out in the 100K to 1 million bandwidth. Also, searches like career counseling are happening online, career guidance. So people are searching, they're typing career guidance online because they want to meet with a similar professional like you. So if you see the daily results on the Google search itself, they have increased multiple folds and is on a steep rise since the pandemic actually. Before that, it was anyway gradually increasing, but because of the pandemic itself, there were a lot of apprehensions, anxieties, panics regarding having another career option, regarding to the job, having a backup career option, and everyone was left flustered. So, for students looking out for courses after their higher education, after their graduation, all of this has been looked at seemingly high. These are just 6 words that we have taken into consideration. But if you can already see that there are more than 5,300 more keywords that people are actually using to search you. Now, the most interesting question is, are you available or accessible in front of them? There are people searching for you, but do you know who is searching for you? Where are they searching for you? How can I make myself, how can I extend myself and my service to them? All of this is something where we very strategically intervene as a part of our certified career analyst program. So now we have understood what could be the solution if we need more career counselors. So that's the certified career analyst program. On the other hand, we have already understood through these statistics that the demand is exponentially high, and it's not just high right now. With coming years, this demand is only going to rapidly multiply multifold time. So we need to be ready enough and equipped enough to be handle that demand as well. Now, how do we do that? Next slide, please. Okay. A lot of you had a question on certificate, right? So this is a certification that is available. This is how the exact final certification is going to look like once you have been completely trained after 1 to 2 months of intensive, rigorous live training. The kind of training that happened today, it is live. However, it is going to be a two-way interaction over the Zoom portal that we use. And also we will only have 10 participants in one batch. That's a strict intake capacity, beyond which we do not take more entrants. So after your training and your examination has been successfully completed, this is a certifying certificate, not a participation certificate, that we provide to you with your name that labels you as a certified career analyst. And as you can rightly see, this entire course is a dual accredited certification, which means there are 2 international recognitions and accreditations that will reflect on your certificate as well. Because BCPA India and ACCPH UK, these are 2 very highly reputed associations and fraternities within the field of psychology, and they have directly accredited and recognized the certified career analyst program. And we're the only company from India whose course has been directly accredited by them. And you get the benefit and the advantage of having that reflection on your certificate. Apart from training and certification, if your interest is to also practice, of course, the certification has made you eligible for practice. But once you're eligible, you will require tools, you will require more support, more solutions on the business front, on the technology front, on how I can increase my network. I alone cannot handle the entire country. So how can I have my network of people in my country so that together in collaboration we can work together? How can I have my network of partners who can refer my clients to me? How can I have my own lead generation tool? So for those who are looking to practice as a career counselor, have this as your own setup, as your own business, your own professional practice, we also equip you with more tools and resources as a part of our next level 2 training program. As of now, we are talking about the Certified Career Analyst training program, which involves training and certification. But if you need more tools, more solutions, more services, more support for your business when you start full-fledged, then you can always get that from us whenever you are ready for that. Next slide, please. Now, these are people, none other than professionals who were just like you at some point in time, having that interest, having that passion to do career counseling, to become a career counselor, and they come from varied backgrounds. I'm proud to tell you that all of them, be it Emmanuel Chizalu from Zambia, or Edmore from Zimbabwe, or Al-Said from Egypt, or Karen from Kenya, all of them are proudly certified as a career analyst, and most of them are right now full-fledged practicing also as a certified career analyst, and they're practicing as career counselors. So you can also, if you are also aspiring like them, then they have already made it a reality for themselves. Next slide, please. If I have to just go a little in depth into, this is a very good, it's actually a very proud success story that we have. And we are very proud of Emmanuel Chizalu. You can just look for him online on Google or on LinkedIn and connect with him. He will be very happy, and he's a very proactively generous person. He was working as an auditor into one of the government offices prior to becoming a certified career analyst. And now he's not just a full-fledged certified career analyst, he's also a trainer, he's a speaker, he's an author. His book is already published and approved by the Ministry of General Education. He's already an advisory board member for USAID, which is a youth-related organization. And he also works with a lot of working professionals to enhance their resumes, prepare them from interviews, and get them landed into the right profile in the right industry. And he's changed a lot of lives in these last just 2 years. So that's about our certified career analyst, Emmanuel Chizalu. Next slide, please. If you are aspiring to see your name on a certificate like this, it is certainly possible through the Certified Career Analyst program. You can have a close look. A lot of you had asked about the accreditations, about how will the certificate look like. If we get into the program, will we be certified? Absolutely. The answer to all of your questions is a big fat yes. Next slide, please. So this will be my attempt to kind of consolidate what all you are getting. All right, we've heard about it in different bits and pieces. Now I am getting everything consolidated for you so that you will exactly know the deliverables. All right. So you will be eligible for live real-time online trainings for up to 1 to 3 months of timeline. And you will be eligible for a dually accredited international certification, which is coming from India as well as UK. You will have access to all the assignments, case studies, practice tests with hand-holdings from the trainer, Ms. Radha herself. You will have exclusive access for quarterly held knowledge webinars that we do only for our certified career analysts to continuously upgrade and upskill themselves in the domain of career counseling. Including the bonuses, you will have access to 23 plus psychometric assessments, which is for your demo practice. You will be able to activate detailed 30 pages career report based on that to proceed with your analysis and counseling. 3 more access codes will be given so that you, using the platform, you can activate 3 reports absolutely complimentary, again for your demo practice. You will have access to an updated career library as well, where you will have a plethora of information available to you at the tip of your finger. You will have access to continuous learning materials and collaterals for your upskilling purposes. Lot of reference materials are given to you. Also, you will have access to a career counselors, learning forums, as well as blogs where you can contribute as well as engage with others. Next slide, please. Now it's your time and we are listening. All right. So there are a lot of questions that has come in right from the start, and the team has been rigorously noting down all your questions as we had promised. So all of you who have asked those questions, I will request you to stay back, because the team here, including Ms. Radha Padmanabhan, will be here to address all of those questions live, so that you can have your clarifications, your doubts, everything cleared right away, and you leave the session with clarity. So Radha, can I please request you to come back?
Yes, Fatima, I'm in.
All right. Now, I think a lot of them are asking this as a common question. How long will the course take? So if we can go back to the delivery slide.
So the live training, as per my previous communication, will happen in the first week. Usually the batch training commences on Monday and it will run through Friday. 5 days of live training with each day about 3 hours of session, which will be online via Zoom interface, and the session would be recorded, and the recorded session would be shared to you each day itself, same day itself. And you will have to save it at your end and use it for your future references. Secondly, lot of textual training materials will be given as we complete a part of the training, so that you will be able to relate the textual contents with whatever you have actually learned in the session, live session. And after these theoretical and lectures, your knowledge would have acquired, but the ability to take your exam and also to deliver counseling, that comes better by practice. So what we do is, from the second week onwards, possibly 8 out of 10 people in a batch complete their exams in 1 month's time. Very exceptionally, 1 or 2 people, they borrow time up till 3 months. Of course, the validity to take the exam is available till the 3rd month. But mostly, many of them, having learned, they would like to immediately apply and practice. So they opt out to take the exam in the same month or the following month, where the minimum 2 to 3 weeks are actually highly essential to practice, because the concepts are so very in-depth that understanding them, digesting them, and then chewing them to analyze is actually, a very significant area. Okay, so which will be involved through an practice assignment. So 3 sample case studies can be good enough to provide you adequate knowledge about the work nature. See, after the session, you will be clear about the concepts, but about the work nature also, the familiarity comes better by, practice. How do you get to know those work natures? All training materials, aids would be provided to you. Okay. And when it comes for your exercises on a sample case study, you will yourself sit and analyze. How is the suitability expressed? Is it 100% suitable or less than 100% suitable? What is the gap? Everything you will be able to analyze and be clear about it, which is the knowledge or the subject matter proficiency. So this actually enhances as you do at least 3 sample case studies. And every sample report on your assignment you submit will involve individual, independent, 1 review against every assignment. So totally 3 sample studies and 3 sets of review discussion with the trainer, and which will also be parallelly having a practice test. After analyzing and knowing certain area, how much you have understood, how does it matter for you to handle scenarios? All these are the collective objective of these 3 assignments. So every week you will do one assignment. So second week, second assignment, third week, third assignment. Your interaction with me will tell you how much you have actually upgraded in your knowledge. Okay. So on the fourth week, you will be ready to take your exams. And in the fourth week, the exams are conducted only on Saturday. Okay. You have an option to choose to have the exam the following Saturday itself, after the first week of live training. Other hand, if you would like to, be more confident, then you are allowed up to the 3 months. So as I said, the fourth Saturday can be a choice of giving your exams. You need to register for it. You will be available with the registration link where you go and register for which Saturday. The latest previous day to the examination date, you will receive an online link where you can take the exam online. And this exam is actually for just 40 minutes, which will be only on the psychometric concepts and career scenarios. All right. As you give your answers through your knowledge acquired, after 40 minutes, you get the results instantly. How much you have scored is possibly known to you with the scorecard. And essentially, it tells you that minimum 65% acquisition is the pass grade. As I said before, nobody scores less than 85%. The proficiency is well built in them through the learning process. And when it comes for the certification is done, exam is done on the Saturday, the following 3 working days, you're possible to get any day, maybe on the Monday or the Tuesday of the corresponding week, you can get an e-certificate which holds a CCA badge, and wherever you are publishing about yourself in career consulting or career guidance, or if you would like to become an institutional counselor, or you want to start your own entity, you're good to publish this CCA badge so that people recognize you as a certified career analyst. So this is at least, an live training of 15 hours in 5 days, and offline training would be, collectively the timing you spent in learning the concept would exceed 30 to 40, 50 hours. It's based on the independence, level of understanding and how much they are actually contributing. Okay. So I trust this is what is the question each of you had. And as Fatima said, now these are actually distributed in 3 batches. So one batch starts from Tuesday, which is on 22nd. Because we do appreciate many of you would take your time till Monday, because the closing date has been announced till Monday. So the first 10 enrollment will enjoy a training session from 22nd till 26th, which will be from Tuesday to Saturday. And the second batch is from 28th till 4th. And the third batch is scheduled in the middle of March. Because the first 2 weeks of March, I'm highly occupied with the regular batches. So for people from overseas countries, we actually schedule an exclusive batch because your time zones and India time zone has to match. Fine. So this is what is the kind of information I'd like to share for all the questions which were narrated by Fatima. I hope it serves the purpose.
Absolutely. Now there are 2 questions that has come in related from teaching as the theme. One, Joanne, and this is from Arnab and Joanne, both I'm clubbing the question. One is, can a person who is an introvert make a fulfilling career out of social helping? That's question number 1. Question number 2, do you think good teachers can be a good career counselor? What is your thought? That's the question from Arnab.
Okay. So I understand Arnav is actually clear about the MBTI theory, right? So now your point is, as you know, who is an introvert? An introvert is a person who is actually a deep thinker and a great listener. They pay a lot of attention to details and they would like to mostly apply their mind. And when they apply their mind, they demand to get a lot of focus. So in order to derive energy by focusing, they decide to be alone. It is not that they are shying away or being inhibited. In order to focus on the work, what they are doing, they isolate themselves with a private time or a space. And a lot of learning in them happens inside out. Okay, so inside out means once a mind is actually happening, applied, they ask question to themselves. Do I know this? Have I learned this in my previous studies or experience? This is one approach they would like to learn. Second approach is they would like to know whether going and referring to books can help in learning. So they do a private time and go and do citations, either in a library or, the virtual citations. Or the third objective, what they do is it compels that they'll have to interact with somebody and gain the knowledge. They go in for an one-on-one interaction. So that is why, they get, easily distracted while they're among people. They choose to be alone. So these are the learning methodologies. So we call them inside out learners. As you were trying to relate that investigative interest with the social, which is highly there in a doctor. Please consider a doctor. When you go to a doctor, the doctor is highly focused. We claim a doctor to be more introverted. Mostly people misunderstand a doctor to be more extroverted. They do not learn from outside. There is a medical study which is being done by them. And they think for themselves. When as a patient, somebody goes to a doctor, the patient complains their medical sickness, right? Their pain, they explain. And when they explain that, the complaints or the symptoms are being observed by the doctor with focus in a one-on-one. And they try to correlate with the medical scientific study they had actually done in their education. Which way they diagnose the problem. They never do a combined group discussion for doing a medical consultation. So a high-level introvert is required for a doctor, where you find the social and investigative are pretty high in them. In fact, a doctor's primary interest is investigative, secondary interest is social, and tertiary interest is realistic. This is for a physician. Okay, so same way, if you see, social interest is something which is high in medical careers. In case of nurse, that becomes their primary interest. But for doctors or other kind of surgeons, it is present amongst their top interest priorities, right? If you take a person who is into radiology technician, they are possible to be social, realistic, and investigative, or realistic, social, and investigative. So this kind of a interest combination is directly connected with your work nature. Social is very critical in the medical profiles. Similarly, when you come for a teacher who is from the education background, if it is a school teacher or a collegiate teacher, primary interest is social. They'd like to connect with others and serve the knowledge or literacy sharing as a service. So their primary interest is social. Along with social interest, they're possible to have conventional and investigative or conventional and enterprising. Conventional, why? Education is a system. There is a curriculum. And it could be any subjects related to maths or science, which involves an intellectual problem solving. Or it is possible to connect with social subject. Now, essentially, rather than checking about for secondary or tertiary careers, in career interest, the primary interest is more connected with career counseling. So a school teacher is very well possible. They can better understand. Who else can better understand about the next generation children, what they are aspiring? You know their academic strength, you know what are their skills and abilities, and you've been, experiencing their behavior day in and day out. When you understand these concepts, definitely the younger generation psychology is easily absorbable for you. Okay, I hope it has answered the question.
Absolutely. Fine. And I think I hope that answers one more question, which was, I'm just reading out the name as well, from Aligo. Aligo, it is the same answer and response to a social worker also who is very well eligible to become a career analyst. Now, there are a lot of questions which I will be addressing now because that's come in a lot. What is the enrollment process or the procedure? There are just two simple steps, all right? One is, once you are ready to proceed with the special fee waiver that we have announced, making the program at 225 USD, you need to either connect to a number that we have already mentioned here, or you can connect back to the person from the team Edumilestones. Like a lot of you who are already connected to me, y'all can reach out to me. Similarly, you would be reaching out to our other team members from Edumilestones, other colleagues of mine. So you can reach out to us individually, or you can reach out to this number as well, which is mentioned on the top in the sticky note. Once you say a yes, what we will do is we will share the payment details with you. Now, we will be able to accept payments either via a bank wire transfer. You can do that. We also accept PayPal payments. We can also do a card payment. So we use Razor Pay as the payment gateway. So we can very well share with you the payment link, and if possible, you can make the payment in your local currency itself through the payment gateway. All right. So there are these couple of options, modes available, and once your payment has been initiated, it takes typically 5 to 7 days for us to receive that particular amount credited into our account. But we will not wait for 5 to 7 days. Within 24 to 48 hours from you initiating the payment, all we require is a payment screenshot, which will become a proof against your payment. And against that, your onboarding email will be shared with you. So your onboarding email will confirm your seat for the selected batch. It will also acknowledge your payment receipt, and it will also introduce you and connect you directly with the trainer, after which you will start to get your details, your Zoom link, and the calendar invite from the training team here at Edumilestones. So it's a very simple process. You need to connect with us. We will share the payment details with you. Against a payment proof that is initiated from your side, we will initiate your onboarding with us in the next 24 to 48 hours from receiving that payment initiating screenshot or payment proof at your end. I trust that kind of helped and cleared everyone's question. I'll just take and don't worry, in case in the matter of time, in case we are not able, because there are a lot of questions that has come in, and a lot of good questions have come in. So don't worry, in case we are not able to address or we were not able to pick your question, you are connected with us by default outside this room as well. Else, we will also be connecting with you to check if you have more questions or you need clarity on something specific. After the end of this webinar, you will also be hearing individually from each and every one from the team to ensure if you have more questions, we will promise to address it so that it will help you move towards the enrollment as well. Okay. Genevieve, I hope your question was answered. Yes.
Fatima, one more point. So
Yeah.
possibly you can give them an experience of taking the assessment once to say check their own career suitability. That is
Sure.
also possible. Okay. You can
Sure.
give them the
We
common.
can check.
Yeah.
Sure. Thank you. For me, I think your question is also addressed when we were helping you understand what all will what all will be covered. So you will certainly have access to all the psychometric tests, because we will give you a common platform as a part of the bonus, where you can activate reports for your first 3 clients complimentary. All right. So it will be a good testing phase for you, where you will be able to experience the tools yourself. All right. Tanzir, your question, if the assessments are available in Bengali, as of now, we have it available in 8 languages. In fact, there are a few more languages which are very specific to the other countries as well. Like we have it in Vietnamese. There are a couple of dialects that we are having otherwise from different countries. So if you have a requirement and you can support us with translation, we can certainly make the assessments available in local languages as well. So that level of support is always possible. Xiao ACCPH, simply you can just search for ACCPH UK on Google and you will know completely about that organization. All right. Xiao, I think this another question is already addressed by Radha, that why we don't call you a certified career counselor, because we take it a step forward, because a lot of your time involvement is spent in analysis. This is an analyst profile. That is why we give you a labeling which is a step forward, which is a notch higher, and that's the certified career analyst. All right. Genevieve, I think your question is also addressed. Okay. Radha, if you can take this question from Myra. The second and the third week is one-on-one. How long will each person have the duration with one-on-one guidance with Miss Radha? And what tools will be used for that session?
Okay. Originally there will be a communication in Zoom during the live training. You will be published with a calendar invite, which will carry a Zoom link to join the live session online. Okay, the same link will be used all the 5 days. And every batch, there will be a WhatsApp group, which will be enabled. And once all the activities, communications, discussions, all will be, the WhatsApp will be a forum panel. Okay. And also, since it is an international call, we can also be able to communicate via WhatsApp messages. So certain one-on-one messages can be directly discussed with me, and some of them will be, on a WhatsApp call we can discuss in a private mode. Activity, which can boost your collaborative learning, can be had even via the WhatsApp group. So these are the methods. A suitable time would be, planned between the availability of both of us, and then at that time, the area what we are going to be discussed will be clearly crystallized. Because engagement into an assignment, you would be sharing the progress of the assignment to me, which will become our point of discussion during our WhatsApp call. Or if it requires, we may also connect a Zoom session for the independent requirement, and then we'll also be sharing a recording in case if it is a Zoom call. Okay. And particularly when we find in Middle East countries, whoever is actually not reachable via WhatsApp, you are possible to reach me via Google Duos, voice call, or even bottom. Okay.
Thank you. Cressida, I will take your questions next. I see that you have, given two questions here. One is in case, okay, once enrolled, can we choose a batch or we are assigned a batch? So, Cressida, I think that will be a simple answer to give. If you are enrolling sooner, you will certainly have a choice to pick from the three. And like we have already started getting a lot of requests for enrollment, so we are pretty much expecting, like how we have experienced, the enrollment starts from today itself. We start receiving payment screenshots because they want to choose the batch. Otherwise, they will have to be a part of the batch which has a seat available. All right. So it will be one of the two. So if you want to choose, we will recommend you to enroll sooner. So you will have a choice amongst all three batches. Otherwise, whichever is available. All right. Second question you asked was, how do we avail the 225 USD offer? I think that is something I have already shared as a part of how you can proceed forward. You can connect with whoever you are connected with us from Team Edumilestones, or one of us will connect with you by default, and we can move ahead with the payment. And after the payment, your onboarding email will reach you. All right. Myra, I hope your question was addressed. Priyanti, I will answer your question as well. In case any one of you happens to miss due to any unforeseen emergencies or any prior commitments, by default, all of your live training sessions gets recorded, and it will reach you the same night for you to do a revision or a recap at your end before you come prepared for the next day of session. So even if you happen to, though we do not encourage this, but yes, there are times where you might happen to miss one session. In that case, you can always go back to the recordings, go through all the training concepts that were covered in that session, connect with the trainer if you have to clarify any of your doubts or your concerns, and you be prepared to resume the next day with your batch, so you all are on the same page. All right. Okay, Remy, you are asking, can I use the certificate to get international appointment? I am not very clear as to what you are specifically asking. If you can elaborate on your question, that will help. Pearson, the answer to your question is, as a part of the 225 USD, the certificate cost is also included. All right, so we are not charging separately for the certificate. Faith, yes, the timetable that we have used is an Indian timetable. So today, today the Indian time to join this webinar was 4 p.m. So all of you were given your local time zones. Similarly, when you select a batch as a part of your onboarding, when you get the training invites and details from the training team, it will again have your local time zones well in advance, so that you can prepare yourself and schedule yourself for those many days for that time duration. All right. Otherwise, you can simply do a Google conversion on time and you can check that 3:30 in India will be what time there. Today, when we started at 4 o'clock, and whatever time you started, you just have to calculate half an hour from there and you have your time. Remy, again, the payment process is something that when we connect with you one-on-one after the webinar, we will help you with the payment details. So don't worry, we'll ensure that you become a part of the first 30 enrollment. Yes.
I would like to happily bid a bye here. My other session is starting. Thank you so much. It was a wonderful session. Thank you, Abhishek, so much. So it was actually your contribution too. And all the participants, looking forward to meet you people soon. And thank
you so much. Thank you so much, Radha. I think on behalf of everyone here present still now, I want to, extend a very heartfelt gratitude and a thank you for being with us today. Thank you so much.
Quite humble. The same to you for executing the show very well. Thank you so much, Fatima. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right. So we'll stay back for another 5 to 10 minutes. There are some more questions that requires attention. So we'll cover a couple of more questions and then we will conclude the session. This way, it will allow us to connect with you one-on-one after the webinar soon after. So if you have any immediate questions, we will connect with you right after the webinar, or you can connect with us right after the webinar. All right. Presidia, another question from you is 23 psychometric assessments are online. That means they are completed and scored online. Absolutely, yes, they are online. They will be completed online, and the scoring and the report will also happen online itself. So that all of your time, which was to be spent manually on scoring, doing the report making, doing the correlation and mapping, all of that will be saved, and you can utilize all of your time into counseling more students and to be able to give a better in-depth analysis. So you can utilize all of your time more productively with the help of the online test. Okay. All right. I think most of the questions that came to us in the Q&A have been addressed. Now, in case you are still staying back with us, because we don't know how many of them are still with us, sure, Anthony, all the details that you require as a part of the training program or as a part of our next level program, which allows you to start this as your own professional practice, you can request to us, and you can request to whoever you're connected with, and we'll be able to send it via any mode that is convenient to you. All right. I think with that, I think with that question, we've been able to wrap all the questions. Thank you once again for everyone who still stayed back. I still see that there are 74 more people who are still here. Thank you so much. I want to humbly extend a deep, heartfelt gratitude and a thank you to each and everyone for removing your precious time and participating in the knowledge webinar today, sharing your experiences, interacting with us. There was a lot of knowledge exchange and share that happened today. And all of this was a great success, and you are one of the major contributors to make it a success. So thank you once again. I also want to extend a big thank you to the team here at Edumilestones, who've put in a lot of efforts to pull this grand webinar, and it's been a success. So Abhishek is there with us in the back end, and there are a lot of other team members also, the entire business team at Edumilestones, the management at Edumilestones, who's given us fantastic special waiver on the fee itself, and the operations team, the training team here at Edumilestones. I think everyone got included here. So thank you once again. Thank you each and every one of you. Please stay safe, take care, and we are genuinely looking forward as much as in our capacity to ensure that you are able to enroll and onboard with our program called Certified Career Analyst. On that note, I bid a good day and a good evening to each and every one of you. Thank you so much. We'll end the session now.